picture, bless your heart. Well, maybe not.
Is that all right?
This is the three-legged dog I was talking about.
Hey,
Frisky, no. Now
Frisky. You can hear it all about him.
Frisky, no. So what do you think?
Love it. Grandma, this is my Grandma Natalie. Sean.
I bet you'll like this. I'd just sit any place where. So what are you doing? Just taking all kind of pictures?
We're doing all kinds of backhoe video today. We went down to the pond and to the church and
Alright.
all
Did
kinds
you
of
take
cool
that
stuff.
back row at church where we always
Yeah,
sit?
we shot all kinds of video there.
Okay.
Shot the football game last night.
We're gonna get Travis famous for you.
I don't know if we
Do what now?
We're trying to get Travis
Just throw it on the
famous for
floor.
All right, yes, ma'am.
Frisky, no.
you. I like this little one.
That's my buddy. You're Frisky. He lets me know when it's gonna storm.
Does he?
Yes,
How's
he
he
does.
tell you?
Well, he just gets up by my bed, and if it's really storm, Frisky, here.
Smell?
Here, Frisky. He jumps right up in the middle of the bed.
He gets nervous.
Yeah, he just shivers all over.
Oh, little boy. Dad around, you know?
Pardon?
How did he go to the visitation today? Dad? My dad?
They're out there
Right
working
here.
on those bins. They're out in the shop, yeah.
Gotcha.
They're on those, they've got a great big thing they're trying to put on one of the bins. I don't know what it is. I went out there and looked at it this morning. They were selling donuts, so I took some out there and I got
thought that
rid
was
of
all
some
right?
of them. They thought, they didn't say turn them down. They didn't turn them down, so. Frisky.
Yeah.
Son, I'm gonna do my best to follow in my old man's steps, to teach you everything you need to know. So come the day you don't need me, this old man can get some sleep. Know you're okay out on and you'll leave him with a man to look up to. Yeah, us boys need a man to look up to. That's what my dad did for me. That's what I'll do for you.
Now then, today is the first day I had that pulled up. And I don't
That's
know
what
about that.
I'll do.
Drone.
It's well that you came this morning instead of yesterday morning. 'Cause you knew better.
It was hair day today, I knew it.
Okay,
Yeah, we knew what was going on.
okay.
So tell us about Travis. Like even when he was like,
Frisky.
even when he was like little, like kind of what.
He was a cute little boy, and he would walk. They lived in a double wide, or it was a trailer right next to where I grew up. Did you go over there, Trey?
Yep, we went over to the farm. Yep, we did all kinds of stuff.
And he would come over quite often. He and his grandpa had a relationship from way back, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Now I have to tell you this, he came over one day and he had those curls. He had a pretty curly blonde hair. And we thought he just looked so cute, we'd dress him up like a girl. And we did. We dressed him up in that. I'll bet you have the picture. I'm sure I have it someplace. He was pretty cute. We used to have swing sets out there, and we had teeter-totters on them until they went through one day with the tractor, and they, rather than hit the tree, they hit the teeter-totters. And that took care of them. It's a pretty good, just
Yeah.
Well, we grew up that way on the farm. We've always been pretty family oriented. Going to church, Sunday school. In fact, their dads likewise. And to this day, we have so many laughs about different things they did as kids. Some of them worth repeating and some of them not. Both are boys, you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, we do.
And, you
What's
know,
that
and they
voice?
rode the bus and then, I don't know, how old were you when you ended up moving up here? And,
We could have been 4 or 5 of me,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah. And anyway, but they keep coming back, you know, and come back. And we always had Easter egg hunts. We'd go down in the woods, and we've gone down in the woods when it was, you shouldn't have been going anyplace. We'd go on the back of the tractor, and we had a thing that hooked on. Kids would get in it. We always pretty well centered our lifestyle around our family. Church. We didn't miss going to church, Sunday school, 4-H, and just a great family life. And my husband, Dwayne, his grandpa, had a way with kids. He just never lost his patience. Did he, Trip?
No.
And yet I can remember one time when he had to go get one of the boys, and he took one of the other boys with him. And I said to this, when he got home, I said, well, what did Dad say to you? Boy, he says, Mom, it's not what he says, it's what he doesn't say. You just have to kind of sweat it out, you know, that it's just, he just had a good way about it, dealing with it. He had more patience than I did, and yet I was a person that would get up and go ahead and do things.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna see if we can fix this noise. It's on my camera.
Well, I haven't broken the camera. Take time to be with your family. You're too preoccupied with go here, go there, what's on or what's not. But when you don't have the means and you spend time with your kids. And I saw this in school because I taught school 30 years. And there was such a change when I first started teaching. There were no broken families. And the kids were all, and they had time. When our kids were growing up, when Trav and them were growing up, we didn't have the means that you have now.
Mhm.
And we had more time to take time and do things with them. Go fishing. Dwayne loved to fish. He'd go down and start. You'd see these big old fish start up when he'd throw the food in for them. But you don't see that with people today. I hope he takes some time for his little boy. But to me, that's what makes the difference, and such a difference in the change in family life. And these kids that, when our kids were growing up, you had community things, you had get-togethers, but now then you see people at ball games and you see people at school functions or at church. Some people don't have time for church anymore. And that's your community things. And then when he got to school, and he had always tried to attend the school functions, support your kids. You see this not happening today. You do some, but not like you used to. So many broken families.
Mhm.
I have a daughter-in-law that's a kindergarten teacher, and it's very difficult to get the names of all of it because some of them don't even know who they're, you know, it's just different.
Well, tell us about when you met Dwayne, right? Well,
Okay.
the first time, how did you guys meet?
We met at a dance.
Yeah?
Down at Spalding, there used to be they called it Spalding Springs. It was a big resort area at the time. It was between Center and that blacktop that goes through there to Rensselaer. And when he was a kid, his Aunt Chrissy was a dance instructor and her husband was a band teacher out in Oklahoma. And so she had taught him tap dancing up at Liberty. He and another guy, she just taught it from. He always had a good sense of rhythm. And so we met it down there, and my dad and family, we'd all go down there on a Saturday. They had a country band, and they had a nice wooden dance floor. And so I met him down there. He had gotten out of the service. Excuse me. And then we met in there. And then I had Doreen's cousin was also a teacher, and I met her in Elderport, and she says, I tell you, I have someone I want you to meet. We were going to teacher banquets. He says, we'll invite him, I'll tell him. Well, come find out I already knew him, but she didn't know that. And so just kind of developed from there. Our interests were similar, and I remember him saying that his grandpa Frank, Grandma Natalie, hunted up where I lived, way over there, because this is the southeast corner of Rawls County, and I was as far over in the southwest corners. And so, just
Must have been them tap dancing feet that got you, maybe.
well, we didn't end up tap dancing, but we loved to waltz.
Oh.
Very good, and just, in fact, different ones. So, I look back and I've had a good life. Nothing. The only thing I can think of when we were first married, it was an era when the women didn't work. And when we were first married, I had taught 3 years in Rawls County. And then we were married and had the boys, and a principal of Van Far was also a member of our church, the Gadsons. And he says, would you want to substitute? And I says, well, I just have 90 hours. I don't have my degree. Well, I said, so you don't have to have that many to substitute. Okay, so I went back to classrooms. Gosh, that's what I want to do. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. So another couple from here, we commuted to the university back and forth on a single lane, 2-lane highway. It wasn't 4-lane then. Till I finished my degree, went back to teaching. He was never too fond of that. He didn't object, but just thought it reflected on him. Mm-hmm. And that was an era when the women weren't working as much. But when look back and think about things, I'll have to tell you something funny. One time the boys, and I don't know if Trav might have been in on it too, they got the bacon out of the refrigerator and it made good roads to drive their tractors on. They lined it up. You can't say they didn't have a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
And look, so if it gets bacon, keep the bacon handy, Trav.
That
It
was
would
not
be
the
less
way I
messy
was
if it's already cooked. And then, just different things, and they would make do with things that you had. You didn't have a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. Now our boys, his dad and them, we were 8 miles from town, and if you went to town once a week, it was not like you going twice a day anymore. And then they did not get to play ball. But then after Dave and them moved up here and their boys were closer, they got to play ball. Well, if they were going to play, and they played little league, little baseball, basketball, and everything, I don't think I ever missed a game.
Where's your plaque at?
I don't ask me those things. It's here someplace. If I had still been in my house, I would have known right
I know where it was on that wall.
For the most, well,
What was it was an award
Yeah.
they got from the high
For
school
me.
for
most,
awesome.
most games. But
most attended.
we did. We football, basketball, softball, little league games, and
Band concerts.
still at it, and thoroughly enjoyed it.
So did you notice anything kind of unique about your husband and Travis's relationship? I mean, were they always kind
I think it just started out that way. He would come over and Dwayne would be there, and Dwayne always had time he would take time for the kids, and then they'd get this. I don't know just when they got started on that fishing deal, but he would come over and the pond down there, if you went down to the pond.
Yep.
And Dwayne would get, I don't know whether it was some kind of fish food or something,
fish
and he'd go
food,
down and
pellet
throw it
food.
out.
Yeah.
And here'd come these big old catfish. They'd come. You could see them coming up, and it was.
that's crazy.
It was.
So I was telling them on the drive down there, they could hear the truck coming down the road.
Yes,
You could see the
and
legs of the
they
fish
would.
going
You
over.
could
You
just-
see them, yeah.
It's amazing how smart they
And no one said a fish was dumb,
Yeah.
but they.
That's
Yeah.
true. So we also hear the rumor in the family is going around that Travis gets his musical abilities from you. Is that true?
Well, I started out when I was a kid. I'll say that with my dad.
Yeah.
And I can remember sitting and he would play guitar. Wasn't quite as talented as Trav, but he and I would sing with him. And my mother and I sang. Well, we used to be the entertainment at different fairs that they had. You didn't have. That was about the bottom of the barrel you started. Yeah. I wish I had have kept written down the number of funerals and weddings that we sang at, and when Dwayne and I were first married, there was we had a quartet at Spencer Creek, the Galloways, and there were two men and their one wife, and they needed a soprano, and I ended up singing with this quartet. And then one time somebody asked me about it a while back. They said, did I remember one time at Spencer Creek at Christmas when you played the violin and sang a duet with yourself? Yeah, Star of the East. I played violin. I gave my violin to Katie. That's a granddaughter. And I started when I was in the 4th grade, had a little bitty violin.
You don't play
And then
anymore?
I got to taking basketball, and that's where he got that too. Just
So he gets all the good things from you, is what you're trying to say.
well, I wouldn't say that all of them, but I enjoyed it. It took a big part in a lot of different things. But my dad you didn't have radio, you didn't have television. I'd sit on his lap and we'd sing, and he'd play the guitar. Life goes on.
Yeah.
And but now,
So you weren't really surprised Travis is singing and playing. It's kind of
couldn't get him to open his head in high school or church till he got out.
yeah, right. I don't know. Send him out of here and
Yeah,
back with a CD
no.
and stuff.
So kind of a shock to all of us, not really, but he sang, and now his mother has a good voice too. And he sang one time, was that after you got out of school with your mother at church
I
one
was
time?
9 or
Just,
10.
I
maybe.
remember it was just one time.
I was probably 9, 10 years old.
Something he
It's
sang
terrifying.
with her once.
It was terrifying. I was never going to do that again.
He hadn't been the same since. Not terrified anyway. No, it's, it just, and then he started playing ball. But he and Dwayne were always I don't know, they just kind of hit it off. They like to go fishing, and Dwayne did too. But I think the secret of anything with parents today, you need to take the time. Because too many people don't, they're too busy trying to find happiness or success, which is it? And you don't take the time to enjoy your kids while they're little and growing up. Now I'll say that Dwayne always had time with the boys, and and had a good way with them, and learned by doing and seeing. And he, just like right now, they out here and here the little ones go out there. What they want to go out to the shop, see what's going on. And one of the little ones yesterday came out and they said, well, they got two headers out there, the Draper head and then the corn head. And they said, oh, but they just got one combine. What are they going to do with it, Well, you learn by doing, and that's the secret of rural life, with farm life. And that's, so maybe some of it's rubbed off on Trav.
I think so.
I think he just, but, the boys of all, of course, when anyone gets married, the whole family goes. I mean, we didn't know we weren't everybody.
What's the count up to as far as grandkids and great grandkids?
Well, all right. There's one in Texas, 5 in the state of Washington, California, and I think we have. Well, now the grandkids. I have 7 boys and 7 girls. 7 boys and 7 girls. And the boys were all pallbearers at Dwayne's funeral, and the girls were honorary pallbearers. And just, so I don't know, and they learn by, from early on, how to do things. And
It's just what you did, right?
pardon?
It's just what you did.
That's right.
Yeah.
We did, and because you used your time to entertain and learn how to play. Kids don't know how to go out and play now. Not
That's
many
true.
of them.
Sure.
They have to have something. They have to have something. Got to go here. They got to go there. And I'm not saying this is all bad, but it's too bad. I've so many ones that said, well, you have such a nice family. They all seem, well, just like they were out here pouring that big bin, the big floor.
Mhm.
Had 5 big loads of concrete, truckloads of concrete. And I'll bet you all 5 of them out there, David, Donnie, Luke, Dustin, and Kyle, I'll bet they didn't say a word to anybody all day long. But each one knew what the other one was to do. That's just the way it is. They've worked with him so long, and I think that goes with rural life, growing up in a rural community, and he didn't have a choice. He was just right there in our backyard, and he would come over, and we used to have a slide there, and a tree house. Remember the tree house? And Mandy fell down.
I haven't shown them I told them about the Ferris wheel, but I haven't shown them the Ferris wheel yet.
I'm showing
The
it.
Ferris wheel.
I think it needs a little
I think it needs-
WD-40
yeah.
probably on it. They built that one time when it was one Easter we were gone, and came home and they built this Ferris wheel. Because they would do things, because you didn't go to town every other little bit, and you couldn't afford it. In fact, well, it was kind of a rough time when they were growing up. Just, everybody had to do what they could. But I always think that Dwayne was always a little resentful of my going back to teaching school. He loved farming, and I liked the classroom. Up here at this visitation today, I saw several of my former pupils. I said, well, you know, I was shaped up when I was in 6th grade a few years back. Must have had a bad reputation. I never used a paddle on anything, but I sure cracked the ruler down on the desk.
Sometimes you have to, you know.
Anyone that got their attention real quick.
It would have got mine. I think that's great. I mean, if we wouldn't keep going, I think.
We're out of batteries over here, so
Okay.
we're
Well,
about
that's
to be.
good that you've run out of battery. Go out there and check on those others. Because I'm sure they're putting that big
Yeah.
fan on them.
Right. Nope, that was perfect, Grandma.
That was really
Oh,
good.
well, yeah, what are you all doing? Well, come on, listen. Okay, listen, David, you all come over here. Trav is here with these boys, and they're doing, well, they've been on a roll. But anyway, they're gonna have a concert. Come on over here now. You and whoever's out there, okay? Well, you and Donnie, come on over here. All right, bye. We're gonna have more audience for the concert.
We were gonna go see them at the shop in their element.
Well, you can after that, that's all right. You can go out there, but they'll listen to you too. I can have a pre-concert. You won't have to wait till they get here.
Yeah, do that first. Sam, you think they might be a couple minutes?
We're not very far away.
Any requests? You're not usually very picky.
I don't have a choice to be very picky. I'm so thankful to get him to play.
Hold on before you get going. Let me make
Yeah.
sure these are set up.
I like the one about Grandpa.
Do that one.
Of course, I know whether you'll have it or not because I hear it on my tape. I play it
Yeah,
every
we
day.
just took Grandpa's CD.
Okay, I've got it.
But I'm gonna get him. I got this other one. I'll be right
I can do both too. I can rotate.
Oh, this one.
Is it a 7 or a Rebel?
It's a rebel, but it'll be fine. This lens, I tested
Yeah, they coming, so come on in.
How you doing?
We're done.
Dad.
He coming?
How you, Trev? I think he's coming, yeah.
You're Frisky.
This is my dad, David. He's probably got greasy hands.
Nice to meet you. It's all right.
He was close there. He's like,
That's not really grease your dad.
Jake
I don't
and-
know, David.
Jake
It's
and
got a
Sean.
little problem, so whatever.
Yep, they're the ones that did the video you watched the other day.
Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
video.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Appreciate that.
And I don't know too much about it.
Over there, whatever.
I think I'm forgetting more than I knew for here.
What's that?
Just sit down there on that chair, David. Be all right.
Okay,
Here's
I'll
another
knock
chair.
something over.
Okay.
Donnie probably walk in by the time.
Is he coming in?
I don't know.
What you guys doing over there?
Oh, everything. I mean, put on a fan on the bin and working on the auto wagon now. I had to replace the bearing and just different things. Kind of catch up weather. Here's Donnie.
He's coming. I want you to be sure to get here, yeah. Just come on in.
I told you they were
Come on in.
twins.
wait, didn't you just wait?
This is my Uncle Donnie. This is Jake and Sean.
Hey.
Uncle Donnie.
What are we singing, Trav?
Do what?
What are we singing?
Gonna do Grandpa's song.
Yeah. It's a good one.
I don't know, it's got a little problem. I thought we'd fixed it, but I guess not.
problem.
No, it's,
Yeah,
Well-
it is too.
after they got caught in that wind the other day and sprung it back and they put it on. Okay, concert ready. Sit down there, Donna.
your name that might snap that pole. I'll get the keys, we'll hit the road. How about you drive this time? Hang on, I'm gonna change keys. I'm gonna do it the key it's recorded in case you use the other.
That's fun.
In case you use the other stuff to connect it. That would have been bad.
Sit down there, Don. That's all right.
Say, come on, son, let's hit that hole. What's calling your name that might snap that pole? I'll get the keys, we'll hit the road. How about you drive this time? We climb up in your old truck, 8 years old and your feet barely touching pedals. That's how this one goes. That's just one of those memories stuck in the back of my mind. I've been playing these days, bring you back for a while. When I miss you this much, and I wanna see your face, I just pull one up. I'm right back in place before you were gone, Grandpa. That's how I hold on. I got one with my ball game, seeing the pride in your eyes. They call our last name over them speakers. There wasn't one sitting in them bleachers, and I got some of you and Grandma. 64 years, still possible when you're living life with the right one by your side. That's just one of those memories stuck in the back of my mind. I've been playing these days, bring you back for a while. 'Cause when I miss you this much, and I won't see your face, I just pull one up. I'm right back in place before you were gone, Grandpa. That's how I hold on. Sunday morning service, back in the same little church. Take my same back pew and wait for you to take yours. Listen for your sweet old voice to say good morning, son. Oh, but it ain't gonna come. That's just one of those memories stuck in the back of my mind that I play every Sunday. You're back here for a while. 'Cause when I miss you this much, and I wanna see your face, I pull that one up. I'm right back in place before you were gone, Grandpa. Place before you moved on, Grandpa. That's how I hold on. That's how I hold on.
That was the one about your dad and your little boy.
The other one?
Yeah.
Set of shoulders for me to rest my head. A place when I was older to set head above the rest. Yeah, that's what my dad was to me. That's what I'll be for you. Beard scarred up, dirty calloused hands. They taught me how to work and do things for myself. Yeah, that's what my dad was to me. And that's what I'll be for you. Son, I'm gonna do my best to follow my old man's steps, to teach you everything you'll need to know. So come the day you don't need me, this old man can get some sleep, knowing you're okay out on your own. And I will leave you with a man to look up to. That's what my dad did for me. That's what I'll do for you. I'll tell you lots of stories, things that I regret, so you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. Yeah, that's what my dad did for me. And that's what I'll do for you. Son, I'm gonna do my best to follow my old man's steps, to teach you everything you'll need to know. So come the day you don't need me, this old man can get some sleep, knowing you're okay out on your own. And I'll leave you with a man to look up to. That's what my dad did for me. That's what I'll do for you. And if you have a son, I'll show you how it's done. And this is what you'll say to my grandson. Son, I'm gonna do my best to follow in my old man's steps, to teach you everything you need to know. So come the day you don't need me, this old man can get some sleep, knowing you're okay out on your own. And you'll leave him with a man to look up to. Yeah, us boys need a man to look up to. That's what my dad did for me, and that's what I'll do for you. That's what I'll do for you.
That's a good song, sir. Good job. Good job singing it.
Yeah.
Well, time y'all leave this morning. Vanessa said she seen y'all go down and grab a road.
6:30. Went down to the pond, shot some stuff.
Oh,
We went to the church and farm. Now we're gonna shoot stuff.
And now that they're going out to the shop.
We'll go out and shop, see what you guys are doing, shoot some
we
stuff.
had it cleaned up, but we got it messed up again since the rain. Yeah, that's fine.
That's what I told
It's
them.
not too bad.
I saw it all swept.